Welcome back to the Catnip Podcast. My name is Grace and today is Monday, March 15th. Yes. This is a podcast about knitting, books, baking, and cats, but most importantly knitting, because that is what I love to do all day, every day. I have social medias that you can follow me on. I have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Ravelry. I'm most active on Instagram, so please go follow me over on there. And in fact, we have some finished objects that are tests that will be going up and have gone up already, so if you'd like to check those out, those are on my Instagram. Also on my Ravelry, but Instagram is where I post about them. I will have show notes, links to things that I will have talked about. Hopefully I'll remember everything. If I don't, feel free to send me a message asking questions. Why did I forget? Or you could just say hi. I would love that as well. We have some knitting to talk about. Interest, general, lifeness. So let's just go ahead and get into it. If you like to grab, it sounds very ominous. It's not really at all. But if you like to grab something tasty to drink, something to snack upon, something to craft upon, an animal to snuggle, laundry to fold, maybe you're preparing dinner, maybe you're baking, maybe you're working, you could be doing anything, you could be doing nothing, whatever brings you joy, and you can come back and join me for some crafty chat. I'm very tired today, you guys. I'm just really tired. I'm drinking coffee to try and wake myself up, but if I am not my normal peppiness today, I apologize, but for some reason I just cannot pep myself up. Which, you know what, that's okay, you know, that's life, it happens, it's okay to not be on all the time. And it's important to take breaks, so, you know, it's just, we're being realistic here. Being on and happy and peppy all the time is just not realistic, so we're giving you some real life moods today. Also, I feel particularly sassy, so there may be some sass with this exhausted mood. I think it is the fallback time. You know, that did happen on Sunday. That was not fun. So we're still in the process of adjusting, and that is not a fun process, you know, because we've lost an hour, and you know, yeah. I'm gonna set this down so I can talk with my hands as I so regularly do. I'm wearing my Weekender with my thumb holes that I finished earlier this year. I got this yarn as a Christmas present, and I finished it within a couple months of getting the yarn. Huge success. I love this sweatshirt greatly. So much. I had questioned blocking it because I do like how it is, but I do think that the flipping and ballooning, it's not a technical term, but like I want the ribbing to lay flat, and it doesn't currently lay flat, and it really bothers me that it doesn't lay flat, so I'm really like, I need to do it. Which is great because I've worn it quite a bit at this point, so that would technically be its first washing, so great. How perfect. I'm wearing this because I want to be snuggly and cozy today. It's very overcast, it's rainy, it was so foggy this morning, and a little bit on the cool side, so that's really nice. And, yes, I wanted to wear a sweater to be cozy with my thumb holes that I added to the Weekender pattern by Andrea Mowry. I used Lion Brand woolies. I've worn it a lot. We have no pilling at all. And you can't see, but it is color blocked, this lower portion down there. There we go. And yeah, I have a shirt on underneath, so that's great, you know. Very important. But would highly recommend. I am also thinking about maybe sewing these up a little bit, the shoulder seams, because though I really don't mind if it like falls off one shoulder, like it was a little chilly this morning and my shoulders were cold, and I was like, I'm not gonna sew it all the way up to like my neck necessarily, but maybe half an inch each side. The cat has joined us and I think he might need help getting up on the bed. I'm gonna go help him do that because the pillows are in the way. Okay, the cat is now nesting on his blankets. So everyone, I have some finished objects, which is great. And one of them is currently blocking, so I cannot show it to you. And for that, I'm very sorry, but that is the case. How is it almost already 3? Ugh. Time, like, really just, like, gets away from me on Monday. So I do have this finished object, which went live today. This is super exciting. So when you are watching this, it will have gone live this past Monday, or today when I'm recording it. This is Over the Universe by Susan of Ye Ani Knits. She did this as a collaboration with Madeline Tosh. And it is a 3-color DK weight cowl. You knit it from the long portion. So you cast on your whoa, excuse you. The cat was sneezing. Are you sneezing? Bless you. Bless you. He just needed some attention. He was like, stop talking about yarn. Look at me. Look at me sneeze. So you cast on the most amount of stitches and you're just constantly decreasing, which I personally really like. In my knitting mind, that makes me feel way more not successful, that's not true, but like I'm making a lot of progress because my rows are getting shorter. I've talked about this before. If I know my rows are getting shorter, I feel better about it because like I feel like I'm going faster. That may not even necessarily be the case in reality, but mentally I feel that way. So I really like that when that happens with projects, and this is one of them. But yeah, it's just a bandana cowl. I also am in love with this smell. Like, I love a good yarn smell. I will always love a good yarn smell. But in particular, this is the Tuft Woolens bar of soap that I used to block it. And I believe that is lavender apple. And it is so good. It is so good. And what's interesting about it is that like it's not necessarily super lavendery or super appley either. It's a very nice combo that you couldn't necessarily like, I don't know. It just smells so good. My parents got that bar of soap for me for Christmas and I love it so much. I haven't really used bars of like woolen soap before to block things. I know how they work and I know all that kind of stuff. It's not that I like don't know how to use them because I do, but I hadn't done it yet because I didn't have one. So I'd just been using soak for like pretty much my entire knitting career until this past year, or starting in January when I was blocking things, which seems like forever ago and also yesterday. Like so much has happened between the beginning of the year and now, and like just in the world, in my personal life, like there's just, what? Where is time gone? We're halfway through March. What? Yeah, we're halfway through March. I had to remind myself of the date. So yes, this pattern is wonderful, and I'm super excited for Susan to have published another pattern. She also will have a sweater or already has a sweater out that has this exact same stitch pattern, which is super wonderful. It is so squishy. It creates a very nice texture that looks super fancy, but is actually not hard to do at all, and very easy to keep track of, very easy to execute. I also really like, this is a very small detail, but on the back, when you connect the, what am I trying to say? When you connect the side, the cast on edge to the cast off edge, basically you connect them together as you cast off. And that creates a very nice like seam here. And it mimics a I-cord almost. I don't know if you can see that very well. You can kind of see that, but that's the cast off seam that I think looks very nice, because you also have an I-cord along the side as well. And what's also really awesome is that there are lots of stripings. Stripings, you know, the technical term. You stripe a lot during this project, and you can just carry your yarn up the side and it gets hidden in that wonderful, beautiful I-cord. It's great. So there were like total of 6 ends to trim, if that, because I had already kind of woven them in as I went, you know. It's great. So, would highly recommend. The yarns that I used are a Barocco Vintage DK, that's the navy. I'm still very uncertain on the gray. I don't actually know. And I have Noro for my super amazing contrasting color that we love so much. And I am so happy with how it turned out, and I love the smell of it. Like, I really just can't get over it. Which is great, because I mean, I have a full, very long-lasting bar of soap that I can use in this smell, and now is my time, you know. Now I will have multiple things that smell like this, and I am so happy. And by multiple, I mean a lot, like a lot. So we are excited. And by we, I mean me. I don't know why I did this a lot over the weekend for some reason. Like, I kept referring to myself as we to Sam, and I was like, why am I doing this? I don't know. I just am. I was trying to be funny, and I'm making jokes about we, meaning me. And now I can't think of any examples, but surely I hope you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. That kind of fell flat. But you know what? We're just gonna leave it, because again, real life, this is just how things go. It's okay. Things are not always perfect. People are not always super peppy, and that is fine. Just bringing you some real life stuff here. So, I have some projects. Oh, the other finished object I should tell you that is currently blocking comes out the day that, or the deadline that we have as the test knitters is the day that you are watching this, or the day that this episode comes out. So on Wednesday, the sweater that I have been test knitting, the Urban Adventure by Sari Nordlund on Instagram. She has many wonderful pattern. That will be done. It is completely done. And in fact, I finished all the knitting yesterday. The sleeves went very quickly, and yeah, it was just really flying by. I did have some issues with the color work, which we just will discuss when I can show you, because it's a little bit easier to explain it what happened when I can show you. But basically I flipped the colors, and I didn't do that on purpose. I did it on accident. The designer said it was totally fine. I did talk to her about it, and she said just as long as I love it, that's all that really matters. And so my colors are flipped, but that's okay. You know what? We're just gonna, I'm not ripping it out. Because also I really love it. It still looks amazing. It's still a great pattern. It's just that I flipped the colors. So that's coming out, and it is currently very wet and blocking. And that is very important for colorwork sweaters, to have that blocking process, as we all know. Which leads me to, very quickly, I'm sorry that was not, oh goodness, do I only have 2 other projects to talk about? Ugh. It's a very light content week, and I'm very sorry. The Urban Adventure sweater I knit out of Cascade Eco Wool, Barocco Ultra Alpaca, and Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, and I'm super excited about it. I love how it fits. I was constantly putting the all the stitches on Scoobies and stuff so I could try them on, or try it on, and was just making sure that it fit well, which, like, can be a huge pain, but again, and this is one of the steps that I personally need to get better at, because I know that it takes time, and I don't always want to put in that time, but it is worth putting in that time if you want it to look and fit the way that you want. You know, it's important to take that extra step, and goodness knows I do not take that extra step. Goodness knows I am very not willing to set some time aside to put things on stitch holders to try them on. I don't have time for that, because that is good knitting time. So, if you have the time, take the time, try on your thing, whatever it may be. Just make sure that you like how it's fitting, because we all know it's very sad to knit an entire sweater without having tried it on. It doesn't fit the way you want. That's very sad. Wow, sounds like I've had experience doing this. I wonder why that had happened. Oh, maybe it was because I didn't take the time and I didn't try it on. Please try it on. Guys, I've been working, speaking of colorwork sweaters, I've been working on my Old World sweater by Wishbone Yarns and Designs. I'm trying to remember her name. Does she say on her Instagram? Now I can't remember. Lily. I wanted to call her Lucy. It's not Lucy, it's Lily. Lily of Wishbone Designs and Yarns. She designed this wonderful Old World sweater, which was a post-Christmas cast-on that I had with my mom and sister this past year. And I'm working on the ribbing. Everybody, I am working on the ribbing. I am only 3 rows into the ribbing, but it's something. We are very thankful that it is something. I don't know why I was inspired to pull this out. I think what was I doing? For some reason, I was just like not wanting to work on any of my test knits, or like the cowl was finished There are sirens coming by. Okay, the sirens have passed. The cowl was finished, but I think I still had to do a decent amount of work on the sweater, Urban Adventure, and I really just didn't want to. And, but I didn't want to work on something small or a shawl. Really, I wanted to work on a sweater. So I was just like looking through the projects that I had next to the couch while Sam and I watched WandaVision, which that is a discussion. And this was in the pile and I needed to work on it. So I did, and immediately started working on the ribbing. So like I literally am about 85% done with this, and I've been putting it off for whatever reason. I don't know why, but here we are. So we can see I've done 3 rows of the ribbing out of 13 that I have to do. So I've got 10 left because that's math that I can do. And the cat is giving me the stink eye for some reason. You're supposed to be sleeping. Why are you giving me a nasty face? Oh, now he's going to sleep. Okay, well, whatever. You do you. I'm busy. Yeah, I'll come give you snuggles when I'm done. So I do have my needle runs through it. Gilmore Girls stitch marker. I also have my favorite pizza progress keeper that is not currently accurate or measuring the current progress, but this is from Hand Stitch Life. It is a pepperoni piece of pizza that says true love, because that is true love. Pepperoni pizza is my absolute favorite of all time. Love it. I would love to get this done soon because, again, like I said, I'm about 85% done. The end is so close, and I would love to be able to wear this soon. Because, again, currently, and also I think there is color work on the sleeves. This is what I have left of my Noro, because again, we love a good Noro. We love Noro. I was very forceful about that singing. I apologize. And then I have Malabrigo washed in the Plomo colorway, which is their superwash version of their worsted weight. So it is a single ply. I'm using my Noro is Silk Garden Light in colorway 2169. Very creative. I say that every single time, and to me that joke never gets old, and I hope it doesn't get old for you. I'm sorry. That's annoying of me. Yeah. Okay, anyway, so let's move on. I really like this sweater. I think this particular shape, I really like the swancho shape of a sweater, especially ones that like are good for snuggling up in. When I say that, I'm thinking of my rug sweater, and I know that my Urban Adventure sweater will also be somewhat that way. Because my most recent Felix, I knit super oversized, it's kind of that way as well. And I really love that. I know that kind of irritates some people, which I can totally understand why, because like you have a lower sleeve divide, so then that means like if you raise your arms, then like the whole thing comes up, and then that's annoying. That would be very irritating. So I can completely understand why some people might not like that, but for some reason I just really like how that looks on me, and I also just really like snuggling up in that. I also really like, I have something in my eye. What, do I always have things in my eye when I record? Because I feel like I do. I'm very sorry. I like wearing long sleeve shirts under those kinds of things. because then you can look really cool and you have your long sleeves pulled out from underneath the sweater sleeves, and it looks really cool, and it's just really snuggly, and it's just so wonderful, and you can be snuggly. Did I mention it's snuggly? Because it's very snuggly. So I'm excited about this sweater whenever it gets done. It is very large. But again, like that's another wonderful thing about Swan Showy sweaters, is that they're very oversized, which I love. Give me all the positive ease. That is all I want. And it just lends itself to being cozy and snuggly and amazing, and I just really, I like that style. That is, and again, like, I know some people don't like that, and that's totally fine. It's personal preference. Whatever you like, whatever you think you look good in, whatever gives you confidence and brings you joy, that is all that really matters. And like, can we even with this color work, I know I've said this pretty much every time I've showed this to you, but like, not to toot my own horn, I realized that I did all the knitting. I did not at all begin to design this. This is such an amazing pattern, and I did such a good job knitting it. I did such a good job picking out the colors too. Can we even? People, I love it. And I wish that it could show up better on camera or on the computer better as it does in person, because it is really, truly just stunning. I cannot wait to wear it. And it must get done soon, because again, I'm so close. So I'm thinking once the urban adventure is completely done, 100% blocked, dried at this point, and is woven in or trimmed, and pictures are taken, pretty much everything, all the process is done, I will work mainly on this, get this done, and then cast on either the Fleuriste cardigan or the Cruiser cardigan, which are the two options that I showed you guys last week, because I am really, really, really itching to cast something on, and the only reason why I'm holding off is because I know that these test knits need to get done first. I don't have any other test knits. I have nothing else coming up currently. And you know, there was a moment where I almost said yes to something, and then I realized, no, I'm not going to say yes, because I need to say no. Very profound conversation I had with myself, right? Very profound. So I don't have any more test knits coming up, which is super exciting for me. I've really enjoyed, I feel like this is a good, we're experimenting here, where I'm also just like processing all this stuff to you. So I'm sorry, and also let's have a discussion. So I feel like it's best for me to kind of go through cycles almost, where I have a time of like, this is when I'm going to test knit, and then going through a period of time where I don't test knit. And I feel like that is the best for my creative mojo. Because currently I'm like pretty much done with my test, minus the last little bit of like taking pictures and stuff, which that does not take very long. And so like, where was I going with that? I'm almost done. And so I can kind of like feel in my creative mind, like, ooh, you're not gonna have any deadlines soon. And you really want to guest on all the things, don't you? You were just feeling really inspired, and you're just like seeing all this stuff on Instagram, and you just really want to knit all the things. And I would say that is very true. That is very true. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know? That's totally not a bad thing. It's actually quite a wonderful thing. Embrace it. And I would also say, if doing that would bring you the ultimate joy, then do it. But if it would bring you joy but also kind of stress you out at the same time if you cast on too many things, or if you cast something on at the wrong time, then maybe don't do it. Which is where I am right now. So I also really need to reevaluate what I have on my needles, because every time I open up my Ravelry, I feel like I am greeted with like, wow, you have a bazillion things on your needles, and I don't know how it all happened. I also know that like that's not true. I'm very confused, and it could be just my mind interpreting it in a weird way, and it's just being like, you have so many things on your needles. What are you doing? It could also be because like I have that particular window on my computer made smaller, so it's more rows of things that I have cast on. So instead of being like 2 long rows, it's like 4 or 5 short rows. And to me that seems much more overwhelming, even though I know logically it's the same. Does that make sense? I don't know. I need to reevaluate what projects I have on my needles. And just kind of take stock of what I have on my needles, just to refresh my memory. Because I know there are maybe 1 or 2 that I don't have on my Ravelry. For whatever reason, I like didn't and have never made the effort to put them on. I don't know why. Don't know why. There may be only 1 of those. I honestly don't remember. But I need to do that. But I don't feel like that's a chore for today. I think that's a chore for another time, you know? I don't know. This is not the time to plan out the rest of my day, because there's laundry that needs to be folded, you know? And that is important. So that kind of leads me to my next project that I have. Ba-ba! And this is, so also, I would also really like to, I say the word also all the time, and I don't always notice, but sometimes I do notice, and when I do notice, it makes me cringe a little bit, and I'm very sorry. I say also too many times. So also, I have gotten several messages and comments from viewers who watch that I think are just really sweet, because you have all asked about my Advent project, about my dotted rays, and I think that is just really sweet. Thank you for encouraging me to bring it out and like make sure I knit on it, or not making sure that I knit on it, because I definitely needed the reminder to be like, hey, this is a cool project, you should work on it, and also because it's really cool and we want to see it, and I love that. So thank you for sending me those messages, because I pulled it out, and I was dearly reminded of how much I love this project, and dearly reminded of how much this yarn just makes me so happy. And I made so much progress, everybody. Like last time I showed it to you, I was at this donut. Look at all that progress. Whoa. So currently I have 3 little mini skeins in here, and I'm currently knitting with 1 of them. And I believe I may have 3 more. Does that make sense? Because I believe this is maybe 20 that I'm working on. Is that right? Ooh. Ooh. Where's the number? Oh, this is 19. Never mind. 19. So one of these is 20, I believe. this 20? Oh my goodness, did I knit them out of order? That would not be the only time I did this in this project. Oh, here's 20. This is 20. And so I'm on wedge 16, or no, wedge 15, which is the final wedge out of before you do the massive chevron border, which, yes, there are several sizes of this shawl that you could knit. And I really appreciate that this is this is an adaptable pattern in so many ways, in texture, in color, in gauge, in I don't even know, all the things. But I feel like it's also very adaptable in size, not just in needle size that you use or the gauge or the yarn that you use, but also in like how many repeats you do, or like do you add on repeats, because ultimately, even though you may not have the numbers to do the wedges, and if you were okay with like potentially not doing the chevron border, you could very easily take that template of like the next, like a next wedge, and does this make sense? And see how many like increases or the difference between from wedge to wedge, and then just use that and just add on from the final wedge. Does any of that make sense? I don't know. In my mind, it makes sense. Like you can see that there's a difference of like 1 stitch that gets increased each time of when you start a new wedge. And so then that way, you know, even though you don't have a distinct pattern for an extra wedge, that you know that it's been increased by 1 and how many stitches to put between your little yarn over holes, so you can just add it by experience of knitting these wedges. I hope that makes sense, because I think that's very cool. And granted, like that would mess up the stitch count for knitting the chevron border if you wanted to do that, but I'm sure there are ways you could figure it out. That seems like a lot for me to figure out. I may not even try that, but I feel like it would be possible. And also there are other, like, I think there's a garter stitch edge that you could do as well. Or you could just come up with your own. I mean, who knows? Do what you want. You could just cast it off and then add a bunch of fringe. You could do that, or pom-poms, or anything, whatever brings you joy. And the only reason why I am doing the super extra large size, or whatever it's called, is because I had the 25 minis to get through with this advent calendar, which is from Pineapple Yarns, which I'm realizing I didn't actually mention. This is the wrong side that I'm showing you. Sorry about that. Ultimately, it doesn't matter because it's garter stitch and it looks amazing on both sides. But this is you are now looking at the right side. My stitch count is quite large at this point. I don't even remember what it is because I've increased since the last time I looked, but it is quite large. But I really love this project. It is the most mindful yet joyful project that I have going at the moment, and like, I don't know, it just makes me really happy, and I cannot wait to wear it. I think it will be so much fun. I can't even, like, I hope it shows up better on the computer or something like that, but like these pinks and these oranges and like the way it's fading into these beautiful yellows, I just can't even. And I'm just super excited about this yarn, and I'm so glad that we decided to use the Pineapple Yarn advent calendar last year. Like, I just had so much fun. I love this pattern. Again, it's Stephen West. I love Stephen West. Like, I'm not surprised that I love this pattern. I've kind of knit it before, unsuccessfully, no problem of anybody's except for my own. And now that I've finally done it successfully, and then it's gonna smell really good because I love the smell of my Tuft wool bar of soap. I'm so excited. And everyone, I am also going to include somewhere in the chevron border this mohair from Long Dog Yarns that I used in my Cozy Days cowl, which I actually have right here, this little guy. That this was a quarantine purchase about a year ago. Fun times. So yes, this was the project that I knit it in originally, and this is how much I have left over. And so I'm super excited because I feel like this goes so well, and I'm just really excited to see how it blends and just add some fun texture, you know, because we love a good texture. We're very tactile people, us crafters. If you do anything with yarn, whatever you may do, very, very tactile. So that is super exciting, and yeah, this is definitely my mindless. I'm going to be chatting with people on Zoom or outside or wherever. We're driving somewhere, I don't know. I need to be focused on other things, but I want to take this time to knit because there are lots of good time to knit. I will knit on this. Because, yes. I could also work on the ribbing of the Old World sweater, that is for sure, because that is also pretty mindless, and that would definitely be... See, the key is to find, when you know you're going to have times like these where like you're going to be sitting or just not necessarily moving around a lot, you may be using your mind, whether you're talking or listening or watching or whatever. If you have something that is mindless and is also very long, your rows are very long, then having something to preoccupy your mind makes those long rows seem so much shorter and so much more pleasant. And it's so nice. And that's not to say that the long rows are bad, because like it's just the matter of the fact. But it just makes them go by more fast, more quickly. That's grammatically correct. Yes. Faster. That would be the grammatically correct word. I can think. That makes sense. So, did I say this was my Dotted Rays by Stephen West? I may not have directly said that, but I feel like I said those facts interspersed through my dialogue about this. We're gonna move my little glazed donut that I have on here from Little Bitty Delights. I love it so much. Amanda keeps doing these collabs with, I'm not sure who exactly, but she keeps advertising for them, and I'm having a very hard time resisting. Yes, okay, so she has collabed with Little Wolf Knits, who is a yarn dyer, that together they make Gilmore Girls themed yarn and charms. And I have not signed up yet. I really want to do it at some point. I want to so bad. The current one that they're advertising for is when Paris and Rory go on spring break for the first time, and that is just a funny experience. So I won't sign up for this month's one, and I can't wait to see what they did for the yarn and the charm, but I would love to do that in the future because like Gilmore Girls themed socks, I think yes. That is a definite yes, and yes, I do know I need to cast on my second sock. I do know, I keep thinking about it. My sock bag is constantly looking at me. I feel like it's judging me. I know it needs to get done. That's also a mindless thing that needs to be done. And I know, it will get done, I promise. Sometime before the end of the month. So that is all the knitting and yarn that I have for you guys this week. I appreciate you hanging out with me. I hope this was entertaining. I hope you had fun. Maybe you were inspired to pull out those projects with those long rows and just enjoy them while doing other things. If you liked following me on any of my social medias, I have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Ravelry. There's also show notes, all that stuff. I hope you had a wonderful weekend and you continue to have a wonderful week. If you have crafty plans, I hope that they are successful. I have all my crafty plans laid out for me, so I'm excited. Hopefully we'll have some finished objects to show you guys next week. And be on the lookout for the Urban Adventure sweater, and go get your copy of Over the Universe by Yeoni Knits. Such a good stash buster, very fun to knit, would highly recommend. So with that, go get those patterns, and I will see you guys next week.